Hey, what's going on, guys? For this edition to Kotobukiya month, we're taking a look at a Zoids HMM kit from Kotobukiya. The high-end master model line is pretty awesome, and they're really cool kits. I have in the past taken a look at a couple of different versions of the Liger, but I wanted to take a look at something a little bit different here. So we have the Buster Tortoise. These are 1/72 scale kits of the Zoids, and so they're relatively good size. Later on in the review, I'll give you guys a look at a size comparison compared to like a Gundam kit, just for reference. But as you can see, they're also really highly detailed and pretty nicely articulated as well. Now obviously the Tortoise, not really going to be a whole lot that it can really do, as the legs are very tiny and honestly don't have a whole lot of articulation in this. But the different versions of the Liger that I have built are very nicely articulated as well. They're really cool how the kind of skeleton, the inner frame basically, is there for that. But that is for a different review. Let's talk about the Cannon Tortoise here, Buster Tortoise I should say. The Cannon Tortoise is a different version that's available with a smaller cannon on the top. The Buster Tortoise has this gigantic cannon on the top, which is definitely a large part of the construction, is just that. And speaking of the construction, this kit went together relatively quickly. You know, it's not that super complex, really highly detailed, but it really didn't take all that long to put together, and it's really nice. So let's take a look at this. Again, guys, a huge thank you to USA Gundam Store for sponsoring the review. I hope you guys will check out the ever-growing, expanding selection of Kotobukiya kits that they have on their site. It's small now, but hopefully they'll be able to get more and more for you guys in the future. And as always, you can save 10% on that stuff and everything else there using my coupon code ZakuAurelius10. So check the description, and the link is there for their store. Now let's take a look at what you get included with this kit. Alright, so the first thing that we get is this set of stickers. So you can see you have a whole bunch of different letters and numbers there across the bottom, a couple of markings, and then a whole bunch of different caution markings, things like that. I didn't bother putting any of these on for the time being. These don't look very good, and I didn't think that they'll really look very good on the kit. Really a shame that they didn't give us a set of water slides as well, but you do have those stickers if you want to use those. And that's it. There's nothing else that's included with this except for just the model kit itself. You have a couple of leftover parts, but really that's it. They're not really of any good use. So let's talk a little bit about some articulation of this guy. First off, just want to point out the clear parts. Aside from the clear canopy part there on the head, you have this one here on the side, and then on the cannon a little bit harder to see, but you can see that there's a couple of clear orange parts there on these bits sticking out of the side of the cannon. So kind of going from the top down, this radome here is what I'm guessing what it would be, sort of disc radome there at the top. We'll move up and down. These little fins off the back will move up and down as well individually. The whole angle of the cannon can be adjusted up and down, but I wouldn't really suggest messing with that too much. As you can see, it comes apart. Like there's a kind of piston gimmick, or sort of like a connection part there which connects this part coming down of the cannon down to like this blue part at the base. It doesn't really want to stay in there too well, so if you move that, it's just going to come out like it did. And also you have these soft rubber parts here, these soft rubber kind of hoses there. Those were kind of really tricky to get in place. According to the manual, it has you like put those in first and then put this like assembly together, but it was really hard to put the assembly together while those were in place, so I actually just put the assembly together, then fed the rubber hoses up into there. It was much easier to just take a set of tweezers and just grab them like that and just pop them in there once you have this part all put together. That's much easier. The plated gold parts look kind of nice from a distance, but they are going to have mold lines on there and nub marks as well if you look at them from the right angle, so it's kind of a give and take. You can of course rotate the cannon side to side as well. This bit here on the side does actually open up, fold that down, and then fold this down again. I'm guessing that's for like crew members to be able to go up in there. You also inside have your Zoids core. Let's go ahead and take a look at that, because that's also kind of interesting. Here on the bottom, some nice detail there as well. If you just twist this part, this is where you can pop out the Zoids core, twist that, and then should be able to pull it out. I'm gonna have to like knock it out of there. There we go. So you can get that out, and you have that nice clear part for that as well. And then moving on to the head here, you can open up that canopy part, and we do have a seated pilot figure inside there if you don't pop off that clear part. Yeah, the pilot figure is made up of actually 4 parts put together, so it's not like what we might be usually used to with seated pilot figures from Gundam kits, where it's just one single piece. So it actually had some assembly required for that. The head also does move in and out, as it is a turtle after all. You can push it into the body like that, which is kind of funny. So that's simple enough, it just slides in and out very easily. And then of course it can move side to side and up and down a little bit as well. It feels like, honestly, it feels very loose, but it does stay in place pretty well. It's just a light, simple part, so wherever you move it, it's going to stay in place without sagging down. But it does feel kind of janky. And then around here on the back, you have these sort of just kind of stabilization legs, I guess they would be. These can also move up and down really tight though, so you kind of have to be a little bit careful with that. You can move those and change the angle up and down. You can change the angle of the feet as well to be sort of utilitarian. You can also just remove this section easy enough too as well if you don't want that. You don't have a piece to cover up that hole if you don't want to have this in place, but you could easily just cover that up with something if you wanted to, or just leave it as it is. Kind of cool how you have these little dangles. I'm not really sure what they're called. I'm sure there's a specific word for those, but hanging off just loose there. A couple ones on the back, and then here on the front as well underneath the neck, you have those hanging there. And then of course the legs are plugged into the body via ball joint, so those are going to move around a little bit, also quite tight. Those move around there, and just because they're so tight, I'm having trouble kind of moving it around without things falling off. But so I'll just take off the legs so you guys can see that you also have a point of articulation here, so you can bend that out away from the body like that. This big armor piece will be able to rotate up and down if you need that out of the way, and then the foot is just on a ball joint, so you can just kind of move that around as you would for a ball joint, and then up underneath the feet, the detail there as well. The front leg's a little bit different, but works generally the same as well. They're not really going to be anything that you can do a whole lot with. Again, nothing like the Liger Zero or something where it has like a million joints throughout the leg to be able to get it in any single pose you could possibly want. These legs are tiny and they're really not going to be able to do much, but they just stand, and that's all you really needed to do. And then for a quick size comparison, here is a 1/100 scale and 1/44 scale Gundam model kit for reference. As you can see, it's not really that big, but that's definitely a very large gun. And that pretty much wraps it up here for the Buster Tortoise. Really cool kit. If you guys have never built any of the Kotobukiya HMM line of Zoids kits, I would definitely recommend that, especially of course if you're a fan of Zoids in general. But even if you're just looking for something really cool to build that's not your typical mobile suits, then definitely check out the line. They're really cool kits from my experience, and just really nicely detailed and nicely articulated and all that, as I've said throughout the review. The other thing though is that I've had people ask me recently, like kind of what the deal is. People have been talking recently about why these kits are kind of going up in price in a lot of places, and that's just because of the rarity of them. From what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong if you guys know to the contrary, but because of the new current Zoids Wild series that's going on, Takara Tomy, which is actually the owner of Zoids in general, I've apparently asked Kotobukiya to halt their production of the kits for the time being, even though they have the license to make the kits. Apparently they were just asked to not produce them during the time while Zoids Wild is running, so that they can try to sell more of those, which are produced by Takara Tomy. So if that's correct, that would contribute to the increasing rarity of these kits, and thus the increasing price of them if you're going through places like eBay or Amazon or things like that, where you'd be getting them, where the prices will be affected by the rarity. Or if you're getting them from other sites where you can just get it like at list price, whatever, where the rarity of the kit doesn't matter at all, then that won't be a problem. But that does also mean that some of them might be a little bit harder to find for the time being, but as far as I could guess, they will be produced more in the future. It just seems that probably for the time being that maybe they're not going to be in production, it seems like, at Kotobukiya. But I can't imagine that they would just not produce them anymore, because as far as I know, they do sell pretty well. But let me know what you guys think about this particular model or the line in general down in the comment section below. Do you have any of them? I know a lot of you guys do like Zoids and do have some of these kits. They're pretty cool, so if you have any other recommendations of any of them that are particularly really nice or something that I should check out, definitely let me know in the comments and I'll consider that for the future. In the meantime, guys, if you have any other questions about this that I didn't cover, feel free to leave that in the comments section there below as well. And again, thank you to USA Gundam Store. Guys, check the link to their site in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next review. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Hey! Thanks for watching, guys. Remember, if you want to check the kit out for yourself, you can head over to USA Gundam Store. Use that coupon code ZakuAurelius10. Save yourself 10%. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.